So, is this a tiny house? What about this one? Or maybe this one? Or how about this one? Maybe this one. Nah, how about this one? Alright, everybody, Seth Chapman here with Living Large in Tiny Living. And I wanted to explore today, what is a tiny house? I figured the best place to start with that is consult the all-knowing Google. So I searched, what is a tiny house, and found out that a tiny house is a house that's 400 square feet or less. Now that obviously narrows down our search a little bit, so definitely not the mansion. But that doesn't really define exactly what is the general considered definition of a tiny house. Now that would include a little bit more specific group, and those things would be typically a tiny house on wheels, which is kind of what I have and similar to what I have, whether it's a small, say 60, 70 square foot tiny house to the much larger 300, 400 square foot tiny house on wheels. There's also the schoolie, which is a converted school bus. And then there's also the vans that are like a camper van that's converted over from usually a work van over to the tiny house. So those are your kind of three general tiny house groups, and there's variations of those. But those are generally the things that are considered by most people to be a tiny house. So that kind of cuts out the yacht, but some people are kind of liberal with the whole what is a tiny house? Like certain TV shows that put yachts on their TV shows and call them tiny houses. So generally there aren't going to be any yachts showing up to tiny house shows, but you never know. So those are your sort of general three tiny house groups, and there's lots of distinctions within those, but I have to give credit where credit's due. And I have to credit the smaller, mid-sized tiny house on wheels for really starting up the tiny house movement and kind of being the heart of the movement that got it really going and started, and created all the steam that helped everybody else along. So the reason I say that is because I got started into tiny houses about 7 years ago, and I found this plan. And this plan is actually still currently available, but it's changed names several times since then, so that tells you how long it's been. But that's really where I think the tiny house movement got its steam and really started growing from there. But those are your three generally accepted tiny houses. So if you're wondering what a tiny house is, there's your answer. Alright guys, well that wraps it up basically for this video. But I was just thinking about how I got started into tiny houses and then how I grew to the point that I could actually do and build my own tiny house. And I was just thinking about how much 4-H has helped that and impacted my ability to be able to do that and know those skills to go out and start learning about the tiny house and then eventually build the tiny house. So I figured that it would kind of be an injustice to y'all if I didn't at least make a mention of 4-H and all that it does. So 4-H is a youth organization for youth 8 to 18, and basically any kind of activity that you can possibly think of, 4-H has a place for it. So they've got livestock, they've got shooting sports, they've got technology, engineering, they've got mathematics and robotics, they have sewing, they have cooking. There's a ton of stuff that they have. I'll probably just have a list but there's so much that 4-H really can do. And it's been an amazing journey for me over these past 7 years that I've been in 4-H. I have learned so much from it. And one of my first projects actually was public speaking. And I can't tell you how much that has helped me over just the course of 4-H and now getting into college. I've actually just today got back from a college visit and heard some of the students that were talking about making PowerPoints and using Excel and giving speeches about whatever they're researching. And they were just learning how to do that. So I've been doing that for many years now through 4-H. And I've grown to learn those things and know those things. And now it's kind of more of a second nature than have to think through it. So I really encourage you, if you are 8 to 18 or have kids or grandkids in that age range, it's a really amazing experience, and you won't regret it if you at least look into it and see some of those amazing things that 4-H has to offer. So I just wanted to give that announcement there so that you know what 4-H is and just how great really 4-H is. The motto is to make the best better, and they have really done that for me. So I have 4-H to thank for so much, and I just wanted to let y'all know about that. But that's about it for this video. So if you want to catch up with some other updates, you can go to Facebook or Instagram and follow me there at Living Large and Tiny Living. But that's about it. So I'll catch you on the next video.